We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Vikings Uncensored, the studio show. Of course, we are heading into week 3 of the NFL season this week and playing host to the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles Sunday. Close to a probable must-win game, but we will get into the preview for that here momentarily. But before we do that, we do have a few news items we want to talk about. A couple of serious items to begin with. Probably first and foremost, in New England on Sunday night at Gillette Stadium, Patriots fan Dale Mooney was killed during a fight at the Patriots-Dolphins game. He was there with his son, unfortunately, even worse. According to witnesses, a Dolphins fan punched him severely in the head 3 times, and Mooney went down, and he later died at the hospital that night. Dumb. Something
that could have been prevented, and now this kid has no dad.
Yeah, I don't know what brought this on, but there is no call for any of that at a damn. I mean, it is a game. It's a sporting event. Nobody's life is worth a freaking game.
Nobody's father is worth being lost over a fucking football game.
There is going to be a child now that grows up without a dad because some dickhead had to try to be a tough guy and get into a fight. Part of that, I mean, that's bad enough. But then, of course, you've got in the video footage you see, you've got all these people that are just standing there with their phones, videotaping this thing. Nobody's stepping in to fucking stop it.
Just disgusting, dude. The whole fucking way it unfolded was just utter disgust.
Absolutely. I mean, better get my phone out and record this shit. Yeah. No, let's not worry about trying to pull the guy off there to save some guy's life. Let's get it on there so we can put it on Instagram or some.
How many views I can get? How many likes I can attain?
Yeah.
Stupid.
I mean, it's just pathetic what this society has come to and stuff like this. And I feel
not one person.
No.
Not one fucking person.
No, they just stood around there like, we got to record this.
And then people wonder about all sorts of shit. When you look at that, it's just disgusting.
Yeah, it is. And, my heart goes out to the Mooney family, his wife, his kid, all that, that completely senseless and uncalled for. And it just,
you okay, bud?
Yeah, he doesn't like it either.
Right, exactly.
So my heart breaks for that family, and
even with the other guy, now he might have kids too, and now what's he doing with? He just ruined his entire life in one night.
Yeah, he's going to end up spending decades in jail for killing somebody at a freaking football game.
Stupid. The whole thing, just dumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that part of it up and just, but then moving on, another gruesome injury Monday night in the Pittsburgh Steelers Cleveland Browns game. Running back Nick Chubb had his
and you catch something like this.
Had his knee bend in a direction that knees are not supposed to bend in. I mean,
it was like a backwards C.
Yeah, I mean, it bent 90 degrees to the side, not to the front or the back like the knee is supposed to. I'm guessing most of you have seen that video or the video clip of it right now. I'm not going to put it on here because it makes my stomach churn every time I see it.
Jesus.
But if you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's horrific.
Yeah, it's one of the gruesome injuries. Like I said, that tends to happen once every 2-3 seasons.
Yeah,
the last one.
For all you old guys out there like me, it gave me serious Joe Theismann type vibes when I watched that happen. I mean, granted, Theismann's bent midway between the knee and the ankle, but same kind of thing.
Yeah. That's career-ending type of stuff right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long.
He wasn't a young buck anymore either. He was getting. I mean,
yeah, he's late 20s,
mid-career. Yeah, about mid-career.
Which is late career for running backs quite often.
Absolutely.
So interestingly, yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, never caused any problems. I don't believe over there in Cleveland. Was always a respectable player. Talked highly of amongst his peers. But that's just the beast of the game as well.
Right.
And it always will be until we switch to flags or whatever.
Yeah, two-hand touch like the Pro Bowl ends up being or something. But
they used to have. Remember back in the day when they used to have when the Pro Bowl was going on, they had fucking football games on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just a recipe for disaster in itself, and it ended up being a disaster. I don't remember what player it was, but that's why they stopped it. So
yeah,
if you all know who that player was, list it down in the comments for me below.
Yeah. Then in other news, of course, a couple of weeks ago, Joe Burrow had signed a massive new contract. So not to be outdone, the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes reworked his contract. He will now receive guaranteed $210.6 million over the next 4 years, which is the most ever in a 4-year span for an NFL player. Can earn up to a total of $218.6 million by the time the deal ends in 2026. And of course, as we always say to that,
show me the money! Show me the money!
It's been a wild year this year, man. I wonder how long it's going to be before the NFL makes a rule that you cannot negotiate contracts throughout that regular season.
I don't know. I mean,
that's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild theory in itself. But I mean, this year alone, it feels like this has been happening at a more stellar pace than what it has in the past.
Well, the thing of it is, I think, most of the owners and the teams are anticipating that new TV deal, which is supposed to be rolling in here in the next couple of years, that is going to significantly increase the bankrolls of the 32 NFL teams. So they're tying these guys up now to save themselves a few bucks when that comes in. But
they'll find ways to figure out how to get more money, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, it's going to be pretty soon that no normal person is going to be able to afford to go to an NFL game because nosebleed tickets are going to be $350. But the real money's in the TV anyway, not in the ticket sales as they proved during the COVID years. So,
right.
Beyond that, NFC North news, the Lions on Tuesday placed cornerback CJ Gardner-Johnson and defensive end James Houston on injured reserve, meaning they're going to miss at least 4 games. Back end of Detroit's defense is not that spectacular to begin with. So losing Gardner-Johnson is a kind of a blow to the team.
That defensive line is nothing to fucking scoff at either, though. But that loss of Houston's going to be rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they got a hell of a front, but it's the back end where that
is lacking.
Right. Then just one other little tasty tidbit, to steal a term from our buddy Drew Bunting. From a Viking standpoint, currently on the defensive side of things, take a wild guess who has the best pass rush win rate in the NFL right now.
Ivan fucking Pace Jr.
Ding, 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 ding. Ivan Pace Jr., currently the highest pass rush win rate in the NFL at 42.9%. The next highest is Chris Jones, who has only played 1 game, but he's at 40.7%. And the next closest guy who's played both games so far this year is Rashawn Gary at 33.3%.
I'll tell you what, I seen Pace this past week, not weekend, Thursday night, beat a 2-man fucking double team, and it was a thing of beauty, man. This dude, it's what we exactly anticipated, and more, because he's a true student of the game, obviously, and he's going to be a hell of a player for years to come for us.
Well, and if granted, it's been only through 2 weeks, but if he can keep this up, he's got to be in the conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I guarantee you he hasn't hit his ceiling at all yet, man.
Well, no, he's 2 games into his career. I mean, He's only going to get better.
He's going to start feasting pretty soon. And like I said, man, once this Flores defense it's 8, 9 week, we're going to be going in all cylinders. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, like Pace has either led or tied for the lead in tackles in both games so far this year. I mean, the kid is around the ball all the time.
All the time. That's at the end of the play, you look and you see the back of his jersey every single time the end of the play comes around.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all done fucked up.
Yep. The only other thing I have to say about this is if Marcus Davenport doesn't get his ass on the field pretty soon, he should have to forfeit 0 and give that to Ivan Pace.
Right. What the fuck? I didn't even. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. It upsets me. 40 looks good on him. I think any number would look good on him. But
it's irrelevant in the scheme of the game. It's just an annoyance.
It'd be nice to see that number made. He wore it in college. Let the guy have it. If you ain't even going to play, then what? Whatever.
Well, I would just like to see Marcus Davenport get his ass on the field and play for a while.
Right. Not particularly. I mean, I'm just kind of rambling here. Whatever. Continue. We'll get there.
Right. Other stat of note, Danielle Hunter currently tied for the league lead in sacks with 4 after 2 games. So, hell of a start there for him, like we kind of thought we would see in this defense.
And it doesn't look like it's going to be slowing down anytime soon, in my opinion.
I think what is his career high? 14.5.
I think 15 or 14.5. Yeah, 14.
I think it's 14.5. I think it is. I mean, he stands a very good chance of breaking that this year. And he's already at 4.
He's on pace right now through 2 weeks to break the record. I mean, that's not. I mean, that's kind of silly me saying that, but I mean, in all reality,
yeah. He's not getting 34 sacks this year, but
no, that'd be sweet.
Well, yeah. But anyway, with that, we're gonna.
Jalen Hurts is a pretty big feat for a player, if you ask me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, they did a good job on Jalen Hurts on Thursday. I mean, we talked about that. We talked about that on the live show last Friday, but
we lost that game. Is what we did. We could have easily won that game, but we pissed on our leg as we've been known to do for the last 2 decades.
Last 6 decades.
Right.
Yeah, but, I mean, we hit the Eagles game at length last Friday, so we won't worry about. We're not going to get into that rabbit hole again this week. So, all right.
Look at the format, dude.
Apologize for the technical difficulties there. Apparently, yours truly.
Brunswick's featuring Ryno this week.
Yeah. Apparently, yours truly, as producer, failed miserably and forgot to switch the format over because we recorded Brunswick's best prior to recording the show this week. So that's why I was up in the corner. But now I'm back and I'm in full screen. So just in time for.
We were just rolling off the Daniel Hunter bit, I believe.
Yep. So we talked about Hunter, but we just went through the news. We figured we'll leave it in here because we had some good stuff to talk about there. So.
Yeah, right. There was some good banter back there, back and forth. We just couldn't go back and redo it because it just wouldn't feel the same. So.
Yep. So we'll leave it as it is. Apologize for the mix-up, but you got a featurette of Brunswick during the news section. So. Anyway, with that, we're going to roll into a preview of this weekend's matchup versus the Chargers. A couple of things of note. On the Chargers side of things, Austin Eckler, running back, probably is not going to play, which is a significant blow for them.
It is.
They said on Tuesday there is no timetable for his return, meaning I would be shocked if he does play on Sunday.
Right.
Vikings side of things, the two main guys in question is Christian Darrisaw and Garrett Bradbury. I would guess Bradbury probably does not play.
I think it's a bigger question mark than we are led on to believe about Bradbury and his back. You don't ever hear somebody say, "Well, I used to have a bad back."
Right.
When have you ever heard that?
Yeah. I mean, and we talked about this quite a bit too, that like you mentioned there, once you have a back injury, it usually does not get better.
And if you're an offensive lineman that uses a lot of lower leverage type of technique, that's
all that stuff goes right through your lower back,
especially at center, because you're really squatting there when you go out and start to play.
Yeah. So my guess, and we're recording here on Tuesday, so this could change between now and Friday or Sunday, but my guess is Austin Schlottmann starts again at center. And
in my opinion, right now, it's an even keel between the two. I mean, it's harder to get any worse than. Well, Bradbury had a career year last year, but I mean, he hasn't been known for his stellar play at center either by any means. So
no.
I don't see much of a drop off in Schlottmann. And I think it's kind of the same deal when we let Sullivan go. He had that back injury, but then he went on and had 2 decent years in St. Louis or in LA.
Yeah, but I mean, Sullivan, he never really was the same either after that.
No, he wasn't. No. But he was a hell of a lot better than Bradbury was when he was healthy.
Yeah, on the Bradbury thing, I mean, this was one of the concerns, and I've talked about this before. One of the biggest concerns I had when they re-signed him is that back issue going to become a chronic problem? And it's looking like it's going to be
right.
Right.
Chronic.
Other than that, Christian Darrisaw is the other question as far as will he be able to go or not. Now, they had said on Thursday last week against the Eagles that if the game had been played on Sunday, Darrisaw probably would have played. So I haven't heard any differently yet this week. Granted, we're recording on Tuesday here.
Right.
Injury report doesn't come out until Wednesday. So right now, from everything I've heard, it's leaning towards Darrisaw playing.
Right.
But if he doesn't, that opens up another entire issue because Oli Udoh was supposed to be the number one backup swing tackle. Now he's out for the season with that knee injury he suffered.
Does that put
So
Brando back out there at swing tackle then, or what?
I
You got
think,
Kissenberry. You got Kissenberry at.
yeah, you got Quisenberry, who I thought played fairly
I
decent
thought
when
he
he
did
came in.
too. I thought he played well in a spot duty.
Yeah, I mean, you could kick Blake Brandel back out there again. The other option
Cleveland.
that I've heard kicked around this week is bumping Ezra Cleveland out to left tackle. Now that we've signed Dalton Reisner, and bringing Reisner in to play one of the guard spots. But of course, that does not correct the issue that we had before of Ed Ingram.
I honestly fully look for Reisner to start this weekend.
I do too. I think he does.
Yep, familiarity with Kuiper, whatever the fuck his name is, our offensive, Cooper. And that helps a lot too. I fully look for him to start. Where do you think he goes, right or left?
Assuming Christian Darrisaw is back on the field,
I think Ingram's the sad sucker. I'm sorry.
Ingram is the odd man out. So the question becomes,
not that doesn't say anything about Cleveland either. He has been average to below average and all. When we see great play at the guard, we're gonna be like, holy shit, this is what an offensive line is supposed to look like.
Yeah. Now the question, Reisner played strictly left guard in Denver, but he played both left and right in college. He also played some center in college and right tackle, so he's got that position flexibility. But I mean, it's blatantly obvious that Reisner's going to come in and Ingram is going to go to the bench. However they move it around,
and then he'll be the swing guard.
Yeah, but looking at the PFF rankings through 2 weeks, Ed Ingram currently ranks 65th in run blocking and 56th in pass blocking.
Yeah, that's atrocious.
Yeah, that's out of like 64 guards. I mean, there might be a few more than that, but 64 would be the starting 32 for each team. So, or starting 2 for each of the 32 teams. Sorry. But I fully expect Reisner to be in there.
Yeah.
Probably starting.
Which side?
I don't know. I think they probably put him in at right side, but if it was me, I'd move Cleveland back over there and put Reisner in at the left side.
Cleveland has played right guard before.
Yeah, he did up until we drafted Ingram last year. He played his first year. He played right guard. So, and he wasn't terrible at it. So
no, he wasn't. And I think I'd like him more. I think honestly, we're going to do what you're just alluding to. I think we're going to put Cleveland on the right, Reisner on the left next to Darrisaw, and that left side might be solidified.
Well, that's the hope.
And then it all comes down to Schlotman in the center. I will never forget when I'm not going to say, but when somebody said that guards don't matter, yeah, they fucking do. The interior of the offensive line definitely matters, and it's showing that right now.
Yeah, especially like when we've talked about millions of times when you have a pocket passer like Kirk.
Could you imagine Kirk behind the Detroit line? He would be an MVP.
You put him behind a line that's going to keep
people out of 6 seconds to throw every play. Hell yeah, Kirk would slice and dice.
Yeah, I mean he's second league in passing right now, with
behind arguably the shittiest line in the league.
One of the worst. Yeah. But anyway, let's move on. Since we've got a couple of weeks in now, we're going to bring back kind of a feature during the preview that we had last year, where we're looking at the rankings of each team going forward to the matchup. Starting off with the offense, points scored. The Chargers are 6th. The Vikings are 18th.
So that's got to change.
Yep.
And it all comes, I know I'm beating a fucking dead horse here, but it all comes back to the interior of that line holding up.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
And play calling.
Yeah. That's 1A and 1B.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, total yards, the Chargers are 4th. The Vikings are 8th. So that's passing offense, though. The Vikings are 2nd, and the Chargers are 11th.
That's why you use the pass to set up the run on our team. But we haven't been doing that.
Right.
We've been using the run to set up the run to pass.
Yeah. Well, but that rolls into the rushing offense. The Chargers are 5th in the league, granted that's with Austin Eckler, who probably will not play this week. The Vikings are 32nd in the league in rushing.
Might as well be 40th out of 32 teams.
Yeah, pretty much. Sacks allowed. The Vikings are actually 4th best in the league.
Yeah, this defense is not effing
around. No. This is what the offense is giving up.
Oh, okay. Defense.
Vikings are actually 4th best in the league in sacks allowed. Chargers are 6th.
That's because Kirk gets rid of it, and if you can get rid of the ball after 2 seconds, we're not losing games because of Kirk Cousins this year.
No, we aren't. But Kirk is getting hit way too much, and that's a big reason why they brought Reisner in this week. So
exactly, you get 2 claps, Questy, on that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, this is one time that Vikings Twitter, Vikings social media, everything else willed something into existence because everybody has been clamoring for Reisner for 2 months.
What was it, like 4 weeks ago? I think it was every other sentence I said, why haven't we signed Reisner yet?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been asking for it. We've been asking for it since the middle of training camp.
Yeah. Now, Kwesi was asked about that, or not Kwesi, O'Connell, rather, was asked about that here on Monday or Tuesday, whatever. And he said when they had him in before, he was still working through a little bit of an injury type thing, and now he's healthy.
I kind of get it. I kind of get it.
If that is truly the case, yeah, it makes sense then. But
either way, I'm hoping this isn't like Alex Boone. Like, no offense, Alex Boone, but you really didn't do nothing when you were here.
Yeah.
And I respect you. Don't get me wrong. I respect you, Boone. You were in the league, whatever, but you didn't do much for us. But anyways, I hope that's not what we're getting at here with Reisner, because almost identical player,
Yeah. I don't know if I want to go that far, but
Reisner's got some nastiness to him, just like
he does, and we need that. But he's another one of those Midwest farm boys that used to throw hay bales and cows and stuff around when he was a kid. So hopefully it turns out, it'll be the most Vikings thing ever if he comes in and fails. But
hopefully Boone doesn't see this and be like, "Who is this no-name schmuck throwing shade at me?" Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. What do I know?
Yeah,
Joe Schmo.
Chinese buffets.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, moving over to the defensive side of things, tail of the tape. Points allowed. The Vikings are 26th in the league, and the Chargers are 30th. Which is also
their own fault, when you go and you turn the ball over 4 times, it is.
Yeah, you give the opposition short fields and things like that. But to that deal there, that is why the Vikings Chargers game this weekend has the highest over under of any game in week 3.
Whoever loses walks away 0-3, man.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but then rolling over total yards allowed, the Vikings are 17th. The Chargers are 32nd. Their defense is not.
Yeah, that's going to play into my predictions here coming up.
Yeah. Passing yards allowed, the Vikings are actually 18th, which is respectable.
Middle of the pack.
Yeah. Chargers are 32nd. So
you know what though? If you really want to get Viking-esque, Ryno, you already know what I'm going to say here. Might be 32nd in the league these last 2 weeks, but they might show up and be first in the league this week. Who knows? Yeah,
but at 32nd in the league, if you can get Justin Jefferson loose out in that
I would hope
secondary, Jordan Addison, hopefully KJ Osborne picks it up this week.
I look for Addison to be at number 2 this week. Honestly, I do. I think this is the week.
I think he deserves it. But then rolling around the final one, rushing yards allowed. Chargers are 15th, so they're pretty good against the run. Vikings are 29th against the run. Of course, most of that came in that 75 yards that DeAndre Swift had against us last Thursday.
Once again, 4 turnovers. That doesn't help at all.
No, it doesn't. But they couldn't stop the run either.
They fed us our sack lunches for sure. I mean, as far as running.
I mean, they went on that one drive was 16 plays because all they did was hand it off to Swift, and he was getting 5, 6, 7 yards of play. I mean, we got to be able to stop that.
When you only need 2 downs to get a first down, you don't even need that third down conversion. That's on running, especially. I mean, you don't stop doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's, Vikings, and that's the next thing, Vikings Twitter willed Dalton Reisner into existence. Now they moved on to willing Akeem Hicks into existence and getting him in here on the front line. I hated Akeem Hicks when he played for Chicago, but he could help this defensive line.
I'm all about bringing in players that can help this team win the rush defense. So if he's a plus, then you give him a look. You dust him off and bring him in.
Yeah, because the 3 that everybody's talking about now is Akeem Hicks and Ndamukong Suh, who is 36 years old. We are not bringing in Ndamukong Suh.
No,
he's washed. He's done.
No.
And then the other one is our old buddy Linval Joseph, who I love me some Linval Joseph, but I also have on good authority from somebody who actually has talked to Linval Joseph. His knees aren't in very good shape anymore, so I seriously doubt he's going to come in. I mean, he might come in, but he's not going to be a every down player. He would be a spot player, a little bit of that. I think our best bet would
be seeing what Hicks has got going on, honestly.
Yeah.
If that is even an option. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, beyond that, of course, looking over at what the Chargers have for weaponry, offense, they're stacked. I mean,
they are stacked.
You've got Justin Herbert, who is one of the better young quarterbacks in the league. I know I fully admit I was wrong about Herbert. I didn't think he had what it takes to be successful in the NFL. Coming out of Oregon, there was questions as to whether or not he loved the game, and how committed he was to the bit. But I mean, he's basically a young Kirk Cousins and a little bit more mobile. Puts up a ton of stats. I'm
not sold on him yet, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, he's got a nice live arm, but I'm not sold on him yet, though.
Yeah, I mean, to this point, he's done well. I mean, he
has.
Ranking wise, he's a top 5 to 7 quarterback in the league right now. Probably. You can argue that point, back and forth all day long, but my opinion, that's about where he falls. Again, we're hitting a team with another pair of good wide receivers. You've got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Then you've got rookie Quentin Johnson coming in there now. Another big target, not fleetest of foot, but he's a good target in the red zone. He hasn't shown much yet, but season, of course, is still young. Their offensive line, as we mentioned earlier, pretty good. Rashawn Slater at left tackle. They got Zion Johnson at the guard, Corey Linsley at center.
Yeah, decent.
I wouldn't take Slater over Darisaw, but Linsley over Bradbury or Schlotman, yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah.
Zion Johnson over
Cleveland.
Ingram, absolutely. Cleveland, probably. But then rolling over the defensive side of things, their front end is pretty good. Of course, you've got Joey Bosa over there, who, one of the Bosa boys. They're elite pass rushers. I mean, we're going to have trouble holding on to him for sure. And then on the other side, they have Khalil Mack, who, while not the player that he once was,
he's not nowhere near what he was 4 years ago.
No, when he came from the Raiders, even the first year or two he was with Chicago. I mean,
He's been on the decline for
yeah.
sure.
I mean, he's getting older, but he can still get to the quarterback and stuff. So he's got to be accounted for.
Yeah.
Then, of course, in the linebacking core, our old buddy Eric Kendricks is roaming the middle of the field back there.
Yeah.
That could be an interesting matchup. He hasn't really set the world on fire in the first couple of games. I'm going to be interested to see what he does going up against Hawkinson and and Oliver. You know, he practiced against Hawkinson for half a season last year, so he knows his tendencies and things like that. But can he keep up? That's the thing.
Right.
Then the secondary, their secondary is pretty weak. You've got an aging Derwin James at safety, and their top cornerback is Asante Samuel Jr.
Rookie.
Yeah, and we're catching their secondary at a good time, I think, because it hasn't had time, it hasn't gelled, it hasn't really. And I think this week this is a prime opportunity for Justin Jefferson's been over 150 both games so far this year. I think he goes over that again this week.
This is a prime opportunity for that offense to get right.
Mm-hmm. Get out there. I mean, this is going to be a track meet. I have a sinking suspicion that it's going to get up into that area where the the over-unders are saying it. This is very likely could be 30-something to 30-something at the end of the game.
I don't know. Eckler's a big loss for that team.
It is, and that's going to make a big difference on their side of things. It helps us considerably because Eckler's a hell of a back, both running and catching the ball out of the backfield.
Our pass defense has actually been pretty stout.
Yeah, as we said, said earlier, it's 18th in the league right now, and part of the reason why it is 18th is because we gave up 2 long passes during the Eagles game. Right. Which we talked about that before. We knew there was going to be some of that stuff happening, especially early.
Smith and AJ Brown ain't nothing to sneeze at.
No, they're very good,
right up there with the top 2 tandems in the league, honestly.
Yeah, they're very. I mean, we faced. This will be the 3rd straight week of facing a very formidable tandem of wide receivers.
Yeah, almost legit 1A and 1B receivers, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, that'll all remain to be seen, I guess. One other interesting stat that I came across today, Jordan Hicks, last year under Donatel, had blitzed 17 times for the entire season. Through 2 games in 2023, guess how many times Jordan Hicks has blitzed?
I'm going to double that.
No, he is
in 2 games.
In 2 games.
I'm going to say 17 times in 2 games.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah.
He has blitzed as much in 2 games as he did the entire 17-game season last year.
I love it. And he's looked better.
Yeah, he's getting in the back. Jordan Hicks
he had a 3rd down stop last week that was very we needed it bad. And he looked fast.
Hicks is good last year. Yeah, Hicks is good rushing and blitzing out of the linebacker spot. Not so great in coverage, but he is,
Well, the coach is using his talents to the best of Hicks' abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing Hicks a service,
right?
Which is
what
good coaches do,
right? And the blitz rate that Flores is throwing out there is exactly what we expected. I mean, we're blitzing at like a 47% rate on passing plays, which,
it's going to cause them problems later on in the year.
Yeah. And that's the thing, if we can get home, we had 4 sacks against Philly, which was good. If we can do that against Herbert, I think we stand a very good chance of neutralizing his effectiveness.
I don't know. I thought we could have played Baker much better, but we played Hurts very well, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the biggest thing, again, we're back to it, is if we don't turn the ball over 7 friggin' times in the first 2 games, we are at worst 1-1.
I think we were 2-0. That
Well,
Philly game,
I do
Philly
too.
game was disappointing.
It absolutely was. I mean, just simply had Justin Jefferson not fumbled out the end zone. Again, I'm not going to get into that whole touchback rule because I hate it. Never have liked it. But had that one not, that was a 10-point swing. We lost by 6 points. That's game right there.
You know, well, let's hope in 6 weeks this is just a thing in the past, and we're talking about being, and you know, we're sitting at a winning record at least.
Yeah.
You know, about 500.
So, but anyway, that's the numbers and tail of the tapes and all that good stuff for the game this week. With that, we are going to roll into another one of our viral videos of the week. So go grab yourself another cold one, crack it open, check this out. We'll be back in just a minute.
Are you good?
Долбоёб!
Ah,
Oh my god!
oh!
All right, we are back, and now we have reached the prediction segment of the episode. Now,
New this week, huh?
yeah, we got a little something new this week. We decided to mix it up a little bit, make it a little more interesting. We are not only going to predict the Vikings game, we're going to predict every game in the NFC North, just to kind of keep track on our rivals and how things are going there. Of course, right now, Green Bay and Detroit sitting at 1-1, Vikings and Chicago at 0-2. But with that, we will start off first with the Atlanta Falcons traveling to the Motor City to take on the Detroit Lions. I'll let you have this one first, Lance. What do you think happens here?
Atlanta is, I don't know if you say they're overachieving, but they're playing pretty damn good. Ritter's looking like a decent quarterback. Bijan Robinson, man, he is what we thought.
That guy's a freaking monster, just like we expected him to be.
Yep, he is what we thought he would be. As advertised.
Mm-hmm.
Still, Kyle Pitts, man, what a disappointment so far in his career. Not being the guy, you know, you'd think you'd be looking at the next great tight end, but it's just.
Well, yeah, he was supposedly that unicorn coming out of college that, you know, and he's been okay, but he's not lit the league on fire like everybody said he was going to.
Drake London, though, he ain't no joke.
Drake London's a good receiver.
Yeah, and then you got Algier still playing like a number one running back, but playing in spot duty behind Robinson. And then, I mean, Detroit could easily lose this game, man. Atlanta's they believe, in themselves right now. They're 2-0. Going into Detroit, I think, Atlanta stands a shot against Detroit. But I think Detroit comes back this week and they pull out with the wins. Beans there at home. But it would not surprise me to see Atlanta pull out the W either.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game. If it was in Atlanta, I think I would give the nod to the Falcons.
Yeah, exactly.
But being it's in Detroit, Detroit probably squeaks out a 3-point win, but it's going to be a fairly high-scoring affair, I think. 31-28 or something, somewhere in that range. But I'm going to give it to Detroit. Detroit goes to 2-1 and the lead in the NFC North yet.
Yep.
All right, moving on to the second game. The New Orleans Saints travel up to the land of moldy cheese to take on the Green Bay Packers.
I'll get your take on this one first.
All right. We kind of saw what kind of I expected Green Bay to be versus Atlanta last week. Showing some good stuff here and there. I don't know yet. It still doesn't sound like, at least early in the week here when we're recording, of Christian Watson and some of these, they're missing a bunch of guys at wide receiver. David Bakhtiari was out last week, probably out again this week. Elgin Jenkins, their guard, very good guard. He's out for a few weeks with I think it's a knee injury or something like that. So I think Jordan Love.
Done.
What's that?
His knees have got to be about damn near done.
Yeah, and he's still a young guy. I mean, but I think Jordan Love is going to have some problems this week.
I agree.
The Saints offense does not look too bad with Derek Carr running the show over there. You've got what's his name, that new wide receiver they got, Shaheed.
Yeah, they got Shaheed, and then they got Olave, and they got
Chris Olave over there. I think they're going to get. I mean, you've got Jair Alexander running around back there, but I think those wide receivers are going to cause some problems for them. And I think New Orleans goes into Green Bay and gets a win this week.
And don't forget that Jamal Williams is also going back to Green Bay. So I mean,
Williams, I think Williams is hurt, but that's a good point. That also Green Bay is short at the running back position this week too.
No Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones most likely is not playing, so
right.
That's going to take away another security blanket for Jordan Love. So I think New Orleans goes in and gets a win here.
Yeah. I mean, the Saints I think the Saints went into Green Bay last year and won, if I remember correctly. Or it might have been 2 years ago, but they've won in Green Bay before. And, it would not surprise me. I mean, I think the media latched onto the Green Bay's balls a little too early in the season this year, and I think they're about to hit a wall, and we're going to see who the real Packers are. And, Jordan Love has not been lighting up the world by any means. I think he had 170 yards passing this last game against Atlanta. So I mean,
and the phantom quarterback sneak where he went to sneak and forgot the ball.
Yep. I mean, it's all about consistency in this league, and we'll find out. But I look for New Orleans to come away with the win here in Green Bay.
All right, so we are in agreement on the first two games in a way. Game 3, the Chicago Bears travel to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs.
I mean, do we even have to talk about this one?
No, we will, just because.
I think we're going to agree on this one, though, too.
Yeah, the funny part about preseason, we all heard the slurpage and the
Fields is going to be MVP this year.
Slobbering of Fields. When before the season started, Justin Fields was plus 1,500 to win MVP, and Justin Jefferson was plus 10,000.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks, Justin Jefferson is up to plus 7,500. Justin Fields is down to plus 10,000. I saw somebody on Bears social media on Sunday, when I was scrolling through, the guy sitting there, Justin Fields has better weapons and stuff this year than he had last year, and somehow he's playing worse. How the fuck is that even possible?
Eberflus.
And Justin Fields is not. All the hype and everything they were throwing at this kid was completely unwarranted at the beginning of the year.
They ruined it. They ruined him, man. They filled his head with a bunch of hot air, and now he's paying the consequences.
If Fields
a plethora of other problems.
Yeah, I mean, if Fields continues on the trajectory he's on, the Bears are drafting a quarterback next year, which unfortunately they would be low enough to where they're going to get a Drake May or a Caleb Williams type deal.
And then what do you do with Fields? Do you ship him off somewhere and then hope that I don't know.
Yeah, you trade him for what you can get for him, but
yeah, I'm going Kansas City in this game.
Yeah, no question here. This is a get right game for the Chiefs. They haven't looked great the first 2 weeks, but I think
they're in Kansas City.
Yeah,
so,
they're gonna blow the Bears out of the water, I think.
Chris Jones is back, causing chaos like Chris Jones does. So
Patrick Mahomes just got a new contract, so he's
their
wide receiver core is still questionable. Of course, you've got Kadarius, Troy Williamson, older, and a bunch of other no-name guys.
Someone said that Sky Moore is probably their best receiver.
Yeah,
or Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's one of those two. It definitely is not Kadarius Toney.
No.
But I think Kansas City wins this one fairly easily. So
yeah, yep.
Then, of course, we roll into the most important game of the weekend as the San Diego Superchargers of Los Angeles roll into U.S. Bank Stadium to take on our Minnesota Vikings. Of course, we did the preview and the breakdown earlier. Now it's time for predictions. So, Lance, I'll let you have this one first.
I believe these players are pissed, and they've let it be known on press conferences and all that. And they know that they're better than how they're playing. The record doesn't tell it all. In spite of the loss against Philly, I think it showed us a lot, that we could hang.
Mm-hmm.
All it's going to take for us is to win a game and turn it around, in my opinion. And I predicted last week in the live show that we're going to win the next two games. I'm going to stick with that. I think that this is going to be that game that really lights a spark. And, like I said, I don't want to look too far down the road. We've got Carolina, and then we got Kansas City coming up. I think we're going to be sitting at 2-2 by the time week 5 rolls around, and I think we're going to go and take care of business against the Chargers this weekend. And like I said, I think this team is angry. This team is being counted out already, and now they're playing them with a chip on their shoulder. So they're going to come out firing on all cylinders, and I think we're going to win this game, and it's going to be a convincing win.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you. I think as much as any game in week 3 is a must win, this is a must win for the Vikings, just to get us back on track and keep pace in the North, keep everything where it's at. We talked about it the last 2 or 3 shows. If we hold on to the goddamn football, we are at worst 1-1 right now, if not 2-0.
And it
so
helps that the other teams lost this last Sunday.
Yeah, it did. But, for all the good luck we had last year, to begin this year, we've had nothing but shit luck. Issues. A lot of it's been self-inflicted and stuff. But, the freak thing, Justin Jefferson, who can make the most incredible catch in the history of the NFL last year against Buffalo, fumbling it out of the end zone.
That's just it. Great players still have those moments, man.
Yeah.
Nobody escapes it.
Brandon Powell with a 40-yard punt return and then fumbles it on the drop. The first handoff to Alexander Madison drops it. Kirk Cousins
playing until the fucking middle of the second quarter.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins getting strip sacked in week 1 by his own guard. I mean,
I think that Reisner signing is going to be, you're going to see the dividends right away in that.
I think so too. And I think that's going to help a lot, even on, basically 4 days worth of practice, getting him in here. I think
it helps a lot when you're familiar with the system that we're running here with Cooper or whatever. I get his name
now, Cooper.
Names. I'm not a name guy.
No.
For all of those who don't know.
I can't believe that. You're always so good with names, Lance.
Yeah, right. So eloquent with my fucking pronunciations.
Right. So anyway, to recap, we agree across the board. So at the end of week 3, we predict Detroit to be
first place.
We predict Detroit to be at 2-1.
Oh, yeah.
Packers to be at 1-2, Bears to be at 0-3, and Vikings to be at 1-2. So we'd be tied for second in the division. But anyway, with that, that's all I've got for this week. Do you got anything else you want to hit quick before we close her out?
Nope. I think we
nailed
everything we needed to nail.
All right. Again, want to thank everybody for watching. If you've not done so, please hit that like button down there. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. We're getting into the hardest stretch of our schedule coming up here in the next few weeks. We got a couple of easier games, but we got 3 really tough ones coming up too. So time to put all this unlucky and self-inflicted BS behind us and put the hammer down and go out and start winning some damn games. And I think we get that turned around this week, and we do that. So with that, again, thank you everybody for watching. Why don't you take us out of here, Lance?
For all those out there watching, I apologize about the little dollhouse in the back here. I'll get that cleaned up before next week. I think it's been sitting there forever. Yeah, I totally anticipate us turning it around and becoming the team that we thought we were coming into the season. These last 2 weeks have been a mirage, I believe. And the best is yet to come. I think everybody's just freaking out way too soon. And the way the division is shaking out right now, we're not out of it by any means, shape, or form. So, with that being said, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the slate of the games this year and sharing it all with you and going from there. I look for us to be sitting at at least 2-2 after the first quarter of the season. So that's what I'm hoping. The next 2 games we win, and then we go into Kansas City, and that's when we really figure out who we are. We don't go into Kansas City. Kansas City comes into our house.
Yep.
But with that being said, let's go get that win this weekend. Aubrey, Millie, if you're out there watching, love you, miss you. SKOL.
Have a good weekend, everybody.